Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. We have a little problem in Eastern Europe with a guy named Vladimir Putin. Putin is trying to take over Crimea, and he may go further and try to take over the Ukraine. He may go even further and try to take over Belarus, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Why are we having this problem? In part because Vladimir Putin, a 5 foot 5 inch toughie, a well-practiced, well-rehearsed bully, is up against Barack Obama, who is much bigger than he is, but who comes across as weak. Why does Barack Obama come across as weak? In part, it's because of what we could call a pacifist mode of bargaining. If you want something really badly and you have to bargain with somebody else for it, you have got to hide a bunch of the things that you are willing to give away. Why? You have to pretend that those things that you are actually willing to give away, you do not want to give away at all. You have to play the game that Brer Rabbit played when the fox caught up with him. And Brer Rabbit begged and pleaded and said, please, please, no matter what you do, don't throw me in the briar patch. And the wolf, discovering that Brer Rabbit hated more than anything else the briar patch, tossed him in. Now, this is dishonest negotiating, to pretend that the things that you really want, you don't want. To take the things that you're really easily willing to give away and hide them and make them look like the briar patch. Make them look like the things you hold on or holding on to with all your heart and soul and don't want to deprive yourself of at all. You make it look, when you have something that you are willing to give away, as if the incredible, fabulous negotiating powers of the guy on the other side of the table are what, after consistent, hard, difficult effort, persuasion on his part, he has finally persuaded you to give away. Why? You want him to feel that the thing that you gave to him was a prize, that it elevates him in stature. How in the world do we know this? There are two sets of research in group psychology that are relevant to Barack Obama's plight. One is research on reciprocity. And the research on reciprocity shows that when you do research with college students, and you have one of the college students give away something in the beginning to the other party, totally unexpected, giving away a can of soda, that the other person will then be more generous in what he gives back. Barack Obama's pacifist negotiating style is based on this idea. If you give something away right in the beginning, the guy on the other side of the table will recognize your good faith. And recognizing your good faith, he too will negotiate with good faith. Well, it doesn't quite work that way. One day, when I was still in college at NYU, I was dragged into an experiment. I was one of the experimental subjects. And the experiment was a really clever mock-up of politics at work. Each of us was supposed to be a politician. There were about 15 of us in the room. We were around a big conference table, and we had space in which we could also mill around. We were given 5 cards of things that we wanted badly, and 5 cards of things that we might be willing to give away. I don't do this in real life, but in the context of this game, I pretended that the things that I had, the assets that I had, that I was supposed to give away, I didn't have, and that they would be of enormous value to me. And as a consequence, even if I did have them, there was no way in hell I wanted to part with them. No way in hell. Oh my God, this damn cell phone. Hang on. Ah! The cell phone. Okay, this is real life, boys and girls. So I went to people that I knew would want the things that I really was very willing to give away. And I went into very hard bargaining with those people. And I let them know that the thing that they wanted, that I had, was so precious to me that giving it away would mean would be outrageous, would threaten my very life, would be something that emotionally I simply couldn't handle, would be against my interests in every conceivable way. And they bargained and bargained and negotiated and negotiated, and they kept raising the price of what they were willing to offer me for this thing that I swore I did not want to give away. Until finally I got a whole bunch of stuff from them in exchange for this thing, which I had been willing to give away for free in the beginning. And I finally gave it up and gave it to them. And they felt they had won a great victory. And I had won a whole bunch of resources. Well, I went through these negotiating positions, these bargaining positions, with all the other so-called politicians in the room. And at the end, the person who had the greatest number of resources won the game, won the political game. And guess who it was? It was me. Now, don't try this at home. I do not do this in real life. It is very important to be honest in your dealings with your fellow human beings. But when it comes to geopolitics, and when it comes to people like Vladimir Putin, the game changes. The fate of the world is at stake. You have to do your best to achieve what you feel you can achieve. There's another social science experiment that relates to this. The social scientists took a group of the usual suspects, college girls, the usual experimental subjects, and divided that group into two great big groups. They wrote up a proposal for a social group, and they deliberately wrote it so that the social group did nothing at all, added nothing to your life whatsoever. But they made the groups, one of the groups, merely sign their signature on the form that described the group in order to belong. Well, the girls signed up. In the other room, the other group of girls had to go through 6 months of initiation rites in order to get into this group. And this was tough stuff that they had to go through. Guess what happened with the girls who merely had to put a signature on a piece of paper when it came to allegiance to this group, and to the group who had to go through hell to get into this group? The group who merely had to sign their names on a piece of paper saw that the group was meaningless, showed up for one meeting, and never showed up again. The girls who had been through hell to get into this group were totally unwilling to give it up. They stuck to meeting after meeting after meeting. Now, they shared a common experience, 6 months of hell. The group, and let's see who really gained and lost the most. Were the girls who just gave up on the group and disappeared the winners? Or were the girls who clung to that group with all their hearts and souls because they had laid out so much effort to become a part of it, were they the winners? Well, the girls who walked away got nothing. The girls who stuck with the group because they had been through hell to get it gained. They gained a new group of friends. They gained a new social network. They gained a new social web. What does this have to do with Barack Obama versus Vladimir Putin? If you make the person on the other side of the table beg, weep, crawl, cross the ceiling, fly, in order to get the thing that you're willing to give away for free, when he gets it, he will value it highly. Now, Barack Obama's bargaining style, as I've said, is come to the table with things you're willing to give away for free and give one of them away. How does Vladimir Putin interpret this? How are the Iranians interpreting this in our current negotiations on nuclear weapons? Weakness, weakness. And when there's a person who's weak in the room, and this is a serious negotiation, as serious as the negotiation between two stags, when they walk in parallel with their antlers held high to see who has the most self-confidence, who has the most strength. You know why those two stags do that, those two male deer? They do that because if they were to engage in a violent confrontation using their horns, it could kill them. But if they simply walk in parallel and assess each other, if they simply walk in parallel so that the weaker can figure out who the stronger is and the stronger can figure out who the weaker is, so they can see which one has the most confidence, which one is likely to bring the most strength to the battle, which one is likely to bring the most perseverance to the battle, which one is likely to win. When they size up strength and weakness, they save themselves from the stag equivalent of war. Unfortunately, Barack Obama, who has lots of good things, well, I'm not so sure anymore about lots of good things to recommend him. It's hard to find anything to recommend him these days. But who should have lots of things to recommend him is a weak negotiator because he doesn't know that you don't give things away for free. This is Howard the Humongous speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make. Or, want to know why? Ask how! Now, for the off button. There it is.